The Europa League is finally back again, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions on which teams I think will win in the first match day in the round of 32. If you guys don't already know, in the Europa League they do a round of 32 where the teams that finish third place in the Champions League will face up against the teams that finish second place in the Europa League group stages to see who will advance into the round of 16. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. The first matchup we got is Feyenoord against Roma. I think this is probably the most anticipated matchup in the round of 32 in the Europa League because historically, especially within the last year, these clubs have faced each other multiple times and every single encounter has been absolutely crazy. If you guys don't remember, in last year's Europa League, Feyenoord came up against Roma in the quarterfinals and these matchups were very intense. In the first leg where Feyenoord were playing at home, they ended up beating Roma 1-0. But in the away fixture where Roma were playing at home, Roma smoked Feyenoord 4-1, and obviously Roma did advance into the semi-finals. With that being said, there is a lot of tension built up into this game, and especially with the fans of both of these clubs being some of the proudest and most honorable fans out of all European football clubs, I think this matchup is going to be absolutely crazy. But who do I think is going to win? I think it's going to be very close because Feyenoord are obviously having a very good season, and at home with the fans backing them, they probably are one of the better teams in this competition. But Roma recently have been looking very good under the new manager Tracey, and in their last 5 games they've won 4 of those games, and even against Inter Milan in their recent game, which they did lose, for most of that game they were playing very well and they look like a very strong team. Honestly, I can't decide who is going to win in this matchup, so I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw. The next matchup we got is Galatasaray against Sparta Prague. Obviously, both of these teams are very good in their respective leagues. Galatasaray are doing very good in the Turkish league, and Sparta Prague are at the top of the Czech Republic league. But who will win this game? Again, I think it will be very close. In the summer, Galatasaray made a few really good transfers, and their team has really improved from what it was like last season. But Sparta Prague are on incredible form, and their last defeat was against Rangers back in November. Since then, in the last 3 months, they have been winning almost every single game. Because Galatasaray are playing at home, I think I'm just going to give the edge to them in this matchup. But it will be incredibly close, and I think the scoreline will be 2-1 to Galatasaray. Moving on to the next matchup, we have Shakhtar Donetsk against Marseille. To be honest, Marseille have been having an okay season, but nothing special, and I think most people expected better from them. Obviously, in the group stages, they did finish in second place, which puts them into this round of 32 competition. But in the Ligue 1, they are not playing very good, and they currently sit 8th place in the league table. But if you look at Shakhtar Donetsk, they are in similar shoes because in the Ukrainian league, they currently sit in 4th place, which is very shocking because I personally think that they are the best team in that league. Obviously, in the Champions League, Shakhtar Donetsk weren't in the easiest group with the likes of Porto and Barcelona in their group as well. But even with those strong teams, they still pulled off multiple wins. They beat Barcelona, they played great games against Porto, and I do think in this game, they definitely do have the advantage over Marseille. I think this will be a very tough game, but I personally see Shakhtar getting the result that they want, and I think they will win this game 1-0. Moving on to the next matchup, we have Young Boys against Sporting. Young Boys were obviously in the Champions League, but they were in a very difficult group with the likes of Man City and RB Leipzig. And to be honest, no one really expected them to advance, but they did end up finishing in 3rd place, giving them this opportunity to play in the Europa League. Sporting, on the other hand, finished in 2nd place in their Europa League group. But I think their team this season compared to last season is much better. I think they are a very strong team, and I think this will be very tough for Young Boys. Obviously, we've seen in recent years that Young Boys is starting to become a more well-known name, especially in these UEFA competitions. But against Sporting, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to beat them, and for that reason, I think this game will end in a 2-2 draw. Moving on to the next match, we have AC Milan against Rennes. In my opinion, I think this is probably one of the most predictable games of this round of 32 matchup because AC Milan have looked very good this season. They've made a lot of great signings with the like of Loftus-Cheek and even Pulisic, who have been playing incredibly this season. Now, it's not that Rennes are a bad team, and in recent years, they have been pretty good in these UEFA competitions. But this season in the Liga, they currently sit close to mid-table at around 7th place, and they just haven't looked that convincing in my opinion. And AC Milan, who currently sit 3rd place in the Serie A, they are keeping up with the likes of Inter and Juventus, who look like some of the best teams in the world this season. I do think playing in the San Siro, they will probably win this game. Obviously, it will be a tough match and anything can happen, but for my predictions, I'm going to say that AC Milan win this game 3-1. Moving into the next match, we have Benfica against Toulouse. I think most people will probably predict Benfica to pretty comfortably win this game, but in my opinion, I don't think this is as easy of a match that some people may think. If you guys remember, Benfica were in the Champions League group stages, but they were one of the worst performing teams out of all the other teams in the Champions League. They were horrible, so far below par that you could barely even see them. They did not play good, and they finished in 3rd place behind Inter Milan and Real Sociedad. Obviously, in the Liga Portugal, Benfica are playing incredibly, and they are on incredible form, currently sitting at the top of the Liga Portugal. But these performances have not translated into the Champions League, and I don't think they're really going to translate into the Europa League as well. Toulouse, on the other hand, are like the opposite of Benfica, because in the Ligue 1, they're playing very, very poorly. They currently sit in 14th place, but in the Europa League, they played very, very well. They beat Liverpool in one of their games, and I do think they are a stronger team than what some people might expect. Now, obviously, Benfica do have the home advantage in this game, but I don't think it's going to be easy for them at all. I think they're going to struggle a lot in this game, more than what people think. And I think the scoreline will be very, very close. I think Benfica will just get the slight victory, and I think they will win 2-1. Moving on to the next fixture, we have Braga against Qarabag FK. Qarabag is obviously not a very well-known club, as they're in the Azerbaijan League. But in recent years, they have really been starting to make a name for themselves in these UEFA competitions. And in the Azerbaijan League, they sit 1st in that league by a lot of points. So I don't think they are the best team in this competition, but they are definitely a strong team that everyone should know by now. Braga are obviously a more well-known team, and this season in the Champions League, they were in a pretty tough group with the likes of Real Madrid, Napoli, and Union Berlin. And although they did pull off with a few good results in the group stages, they ended up finishing in 3rd place, and now they are obviously trying to play for the round of 16 Europa League. In this match, they are playing in Portugal, and for that reason, I think they have the advantage in this game. Now, I don't think Qarabag is a bad team, and they obviously do have a good chance, but Braga, with that earlier Champions League experience, I do think they will pretty comfortably win this game, and I'm going to say 2-0. And finally, moving into the last match in the first match day in the round of 32, we have Lens against SC Freiburg. Lens started the season very, very poorly in the Liga, which was pretty unexpected considering how good they were last season. But in recent months, they have really started to pick things up, and they currently have climbed into 6th place in the Liga table. Freiburg, who also sit in a similar position in the Bundesliga as they currently sit in 7th place, have also been playing pretty good this season. But in recent weeks, they have not been in good form, as they lost 3-1 to Werder Bremen, they lost 3-1 to Stuttgart, and they lost 3-0 to Borussia Dortmund. They've conceded 9 goals in their last 3 games, and sadly for them, this Champions League fixture comes at a very bad time, because I don't think they will be able to win this matchup. If Freiburg were in better recent form, I do think they probably could do better in this matchup against Lens. But obviously Lens have won multiple of their last games. They look like a much better team than they did at the start of the season. And again, they are playing in France in this game. And with the fans backing them, with all the support, I think they will definitely win this game. And I think the score will be 2-0. And that is the end of my Europa League predictions for the first match day in the round of 32. If you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree with my predictions and you think there might be an upset or two, again, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys want to see my Europa League predictions for the second match day, that video will be out next week. And obviously, if you want to see my Champions League prediction video for the round of 16, you can also find that video on my channel. But for now, if you guys did enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.